Do you need me, Diggs, to rescue you from your love life? If so, hit me up at www.WhoDIGGSMe.com. All right, y'all. So I had a deep moment. We had Danielle. I'm still Diggs, y'all. I'm still Diggs. We still in a loft in the remix lounge, cutting it up. It's Who Digs Me. You can really dig it or you cannot dig it. You already know what's good with that. Anyways, my man G, we sitting here. I need to give a super duper shout out to Spoon. And yes, his name is Spoon, S-P-O-O-N, for my topic this evening. It is the music affecting our relationships? Music.
It's a good topic.
Yeah, so he wanted me to go into depth, like 60s, 70s era, 80s, 90s era, all the way up to now. And I honestly, G, I went online and I looked up mad songs. And I know I'm mad, makes me look kind of ghetto, but it was a lot. It was a lot of songs. But I realized, which was kind of deep, because his analogy was the 60s and the 70s was like love music and so on and so forth. And he wasn't really sure about 80s and 90s. I just remember, like, you know, Belle Biv DeVoe and, you know,
but back then in the 60s
and all of that. You know what I'm saying? However, when I got into depth about it, you know, his thing was, does music promote promiscuity? And I have to.
It's a good question.
I have to admit, because, so come on, you in your car, you chilling, that song come on, your seat go back, and you be like, You know, like, so music does affect you. But however, when I did research, back in the day, they still was talking about getting it on. They still was talking about the nooks and the crannies. So I'm thinking that maybe, you know, I think right now, nowadays, it's just a little bit more overly exposed and a little bit more explicit about popping the bottles and girls bending over and so on and so forth. As far as the music is concerned, do you think it affects how we think? Because I found a song. I found me a song.
What song is that? Tell me.
It's actually pretty deep, and I'm not trying to knock y'all man, but I was in my car and it came on. It's Life Jennings' song Statistics.
Hold on.
He said 25% of all men are unstable. 25% of all men can't be faithful. 30% of them don't mean what they say. He said, and 10% of the remaining 20 is gay.
And that's a perfect song for him, who is now locked up.
But wait a minute.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you,
Mr.
G. Thank you.
No, but
not near one of them statistics.
That's all I gotta say.
Accurate.
But then he said that leaves a 10% chance of ever finding your mate. And I'm in the car like, wow, that's kind of deep. But then he said to the ladies, he said, rule number 1, don't be a booty call ladies. Back to my topic last week, you know when you were J.O., you know when you would jump off, you know.
That's indirect hating.
You know.
Try to tell you not to be something that you don't know you really.
Thank you.
We know what you be dealing with. That's what my show's not about, ladies and gentlemen. But then he said, rule number 2 was, if he's in a relationship, he will cheat on her. He'll probably cheat on you, which we all know. But that's not just women. That's just not men. That's people, period. If I can't, like I said, it goes back to what I said about the communication. If you can't communicate in your personal life, you can't communicate in your business life. Hence, if you're not faithful, you're not going to be faithful, period. And I don't understand. And then I was listening to Steve Harvey, which is random, but he said men are not taught how to be faithful. I agree. I honestly don't really listen to the radio too much, but he had made a comment that, like, women are taught that we need to be ladylike at all times, we need to be a certain type of way, so on and so forth, but that there's no men, a lot of men are not taught about celibacy, about sex before marriage, and that's why it's
I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree a little bit.
But
we running out of time though. But I gotta disagree. I disagree. I disagree on that one. I disagree.
We can run a tape a little bit. I need to know why you disagree. Because I'm not knocking you, but
no.
Okay, we got a few men in here,
right.
But a few of the men that I've known, and let me tell you, I got 7 brothers, 7.
Okay.
So I usually know. I be trying to tell dudes, I know the game. I grew up with it.
But not too many females grew up with 7 brothers though. At the same time,
but I'm blessed though.
You are blessed.
I used to be mad about it because I used to play football and everything. I was mad that I didn't have a girlfriend to do my hair and stuff. But when I grew up, it prepared me for this show because I know what y'all be. Come on.
But then that comes back to the upbringing of the child.
But
it starts in the home though.
Yeah, but he said a lot of men are not teaching their sons about saving yourself before marriage.
How Steve
about,
know?
huh?
How does Steve know? He's only one man. How does he know?
But I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he's right. I'm just saying he had a valid point in today's society.
That is a valid point, though.
The issue was a lot of the girls wanted to date a guy, and because she wanted to be celibate, he was not trying to hear her. And the beef was, her mom said, girl, you're not going to get no man until you give yourself to this man before marriage, after marriage, so on and so forth. So hence, he said a lot of men are not taught, not you or
right.
You
No.
but a lot of men, and I'm sorry, but
look at,
I have to agree to an extent.
To an extent, but look at today's society. You haven't male fathers at 14 are having kids. You got males that are getting girls pregnant that young.
We see
so
all that, but ain't nobody doing nothing
so
about it.
So you know what? We're gonna do something about it, Jake. We're gonna do something.
Who digs me and trying to do something about it? We are going to a break. We had a love cutting it up. Oh, we digging it, don't dig it.
My name is Kid Riddling. I'm out here just to do my thing and dance.
I've been having some concerns. I know my show was only 30 minutes. However, we are going to, if you want to see what we were talking about when the cameras was off, go to WhoDIGGSMe.com and you will see what we are talking about, because some of my topics are deep and I want to get into depth. I don't want to say random stuff and don't give people time to process, because the point of my show is I want people to be able to say what they got to say. I don't want you to sit there and hear me talk. I want to be able to know what you got to say, because it's only, a lot of my stuff is personal experience and life situations. So I'm not a therapist. No, I didn't go to school for that. However, I do think I did experience enough in my life that I can actually help somebody else not make the same mistakes that I made up at 32. Yeah. So that's what that is.
All right.
This is my BFF bestie. His name is James Crump from James Crump Ministry. I'm going to introduce him in a minute, but going back to the song, when I was online, do you know they have like songs for advice? They got breakup songs, feel-good songs, songs about sex, songs about death, songs about being happy, songs about fighting, sad songs. They got stalker songs. You have stalker songs? Really? You have stalks? Really? Really? But anyway, if you really go into depth about music and what it means, and I know if we take it a step further, sometimes music can actually control your mind, your mindset, and if you kind of think about, you kind of like feed yourself. If you listen to sad songs all the time, you will find yourself depressed. If you know, and and people don't want to take it that far, but It is that far. But that's behind the scenes. We're going to WhoDIGGSMe.com, WhoDIGGSMe. If you have a topic, go to WhoDIGGSMe@gmail, and then we will try our best to get it on the air. Hence, my guest today, give it up to James Crump, please. Yeah. We actually we go back a whole 24 hours. I wanted him to come on the show. I need you to understand, he is a very smart individual. He is so smart. Sometimes I don't like approaching him because I feel like, okay, I'm not really ready for his comeback, because he always has a comeback, But he wanted to discuss the 4 things that will help you maintain to be successful in relationships, or
4 things for a successful relationship. It's not exhaustive at all, but just 4 really, I think, kind of pertinent things that I think will help everybody as you want, because I don't think anybody wants to have a failed relationship. Nobody likes breaking up.
No.
If you do, you're a special case.
You might need one of them sad songs, one of them feel-good songs, stalker songs.
So it's really 4 real quick things. And where did I get them from? Actually had a chance, a few of us at our church, to sit down with our pastor and first lady. Been married for 11 years, and just ask them questions about just any questions that we wanted to ask as it related to, Because in order to have a successful marriage, you have to have a successful relationship.
And I don't mean to cut them off, but a single person cannot tell a single person about being single or how to be single. You need to get somebody who's in a relationship that is happy to guide you, because sometimes the blind leading the blind. Continue.
Right, very true, because you can only take somebody as far as you're going.
Continue. Blind leading
So
the
if you
blind.
haven't gotten to a certain point, the guy, I can only get you to B, if I've only gotten to B. So real quick, 4 things, not exhaustive again. The first thing to have a successful relationship / marriage in the future is you got to cultivate a successful relationship with yourself. A lot of people are terrified of being alone.
Yes.
They can't be by themselves. They can't eat by themselves. They can't go to the movie by themselves. If it was appropriate, they would take somebody to the bathroom with them.
Yes.
But that's
Not me, but
main
yes.
thing. Yeah.
I agree.
Men don't do that, but
Yes, they do.
they shouldn't.
Yes, they do. No, okay, continue.
We all know, men. We know there are men bathroom rules. That we just know we don't have to discuss them. Just some stuff you just don't do.
Okay.
And going together is one of those things.
Okay.
The only way to really have a successful relationship with yourself is to cultivate a successful relationship with God, because He knows you and He made you. Think about it. Realistically, who else knows you better? Exactly. The second thing is what we talked about initially. You got to contend with all of your issues from the past. One of the things that I found out is if you don't contend with them, then you'll think the person that you're in the relationship with is the issue.
Yes.
The only way to really find out if it's them or if it's you is to spend some time by yourself without them. And if you still got the problem when they leave, it was always your problem.
Yeah, because I'm stubborn. Continue.
Right.
I'm stubborn.
And a lot of people don't do that. Minimize baggage. You got to minimize baggage. Why are you going to ask somebody to carry something that you're not willing to carry yourself?
Hence, Erykah Badu song. All that baggage, can't get that bus. Continue.
The next thing,
Continue.
develop a strong self-image.
Yes.
You have to be confident in who you are when nobody else is around. I told people with the college ministry that I deal with that I found that I was funny because I made myself laugh when nobody else was there.
He does that quite often, ladies and gentlemen. At my expense.
I became completely comfortable with myself. If you need somebody around you to make you feel valid, then you haven't developed a strong self-image. You get what I'm saying? You have to be able to know that you're important by yourself. And that way you don't live off the validation of others, because people don't always have the time to validate you. The last thing, you got to establish what you want. Now, with the establishing what you want, my question that I want you to ask yourself is, what are your expectations? But then the next question is, where did you get them? Because if you got them from the urban novel, if you got them from the movie, that means you got your expectations from people who don't exist, from relationships that never happened.
So deep, I don't even got to come back.
So you got to establish your expectation and make sure you find out where you got them from. People get ashy. People's breath stink. If for some reason you think that people fart.
Yes. Wait,
If you got a problem with
that? That's not me, but yes.
Okay.
That's not me.
And then the last 2 things you want to ask yourself about expectations is, are they real? And do you meet them? If you don't meet those expectations, how is it fair for you to expect somebody else to meet them? You should be able to accept the work in progress if you're a work in progress. And that's all I have to say.
And I don't. This is James Crump. That was super. I hope everybody took from that, because I'm really like taking notes. Like, this is WhoDIGGSMe.com. If you want to get in contact with him, what is your contact information? JamesCrumpMinistries@gmail.com. And the website will be back up soon. Have somebody great, Unique Graphics is working on it for me, so you can check Unique Graphics out. But www.jamescrumpministries.com. I wonder who Unique is. I think it's. Anyway.
Yeah, she's pretty special.
She's pretty special. She's pretty special. Aww. I'm Diggs. Who Digs Me? In the remix lounge. When we come back, we'll be chopping it up with Cabana. After. He just really.